Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're recapping my May whiskey and cigar clubs, and you saw on the thumbnail and probably in the title somewhere, that's 12 bottles. And I had 2 in May. So if you're new here, I usually do one of these once a month where I recap my whiskey cigar clubs. What we do is we 12 bottles blind, 3 sets of 4. I had my first whiskey cigar club last Thursday, and at that one of my friends was like, oh, I'll host it at my house for next Tuesday, this past Tuesday, because he's got a heated pool, and he goes, you guys come over earlier and enjoy the pool. And I was like, yes. I want to be in the pool because it's starting to get warm out. I had our lineup from Thursday in a box for this video, so I don't mess it up, so it was to the side. And I set up a whole new lineup for Tuesday's Whiskey Cigar Club. Well, I grabbed the first box, and so we ended up doing the same blind twice. Now, the reason we usually do 2 Whiskey Cigar Clubs is because people, I set like a little voting thing, and obviously it's like 2 different groups. There are a couple overlappers. I was obviously on both of them. The host at the second house was on both of them. I think one other guy. It's something I wanted to do eventually anyways, kind of experiment to see if people score everything the same, even if they're like mixed up a little bit. So it ended up happening. So we are going over 12 bottles today. I'll kind of go over how they were lined up as we go. But what we're going to talk about today is the group score, my score, my notes, and its overall ranking out of like 1 out of 12. So let's get into the first lineup. All right, so this was the first lineup in the first group. I'll go over it and I'll kind of show you how they were in the second group. But what I did on the second group, not to make too much confusion for me for this video, basically, I just switched around each lineup. I didn't move them around outside the lineups. We start off with Shenks on the first one, and I'm going to be reading off of both of my notes from both different days, kind of see how similar they were, and the scoring to kind of see how close they were, because I'm doing this for the first time as well. I'm curious. So the Shenks, which I don't know why I keep buying this. I don't think I've ever loved any of these, especially for the price, but I feel like I get the Bombergers and the Shenks right next to it, and why not? Again, no disappointment year from the Shenks. Light vanilla, nutty, maple syrup on the nose, palate, oak, light, woody, watery, red fruit, thin. On the finish, watery, oak, okay, red fruit. And that was the first day, and I scored at 3.15. On the second one, I did a dusty, red fruit, nutty. On the palate, funky, okay, light, watery, okay. On the finish, okay, youngish. I scored a 2.75. So I scored it less on the second day than the first one. Overall, it came for the group at 3.05, which made it last place in 12th, okay? Then we have this Penelope Havana, which I didn't like last year's because of the bread dough note, but I actually didn't pick up the bread dough note this year. It was just stupid sweet, and you'll see why. Or you'll see my note. On the nose, sweet, overly sweet. On the palate, over sweet honey. Finish, stupid sweet honey. So, yeah, let's see. And then on the second time, sweet, dark fruit. On the palate, sweet honey. Finish, so sweet syrup. So obviously, very sweet. I scored a 2.8 and a 2.75. The group score 3.22. We did have one guy that loved the sweetness of the Penelopes. I think 2 guys actually, over scored these, but whatever. It still came in 10th place overall, so not that well. So we have the Jack Daniel's 10, and that's this year's. On the nose, sweet peanut butter, apple. On the palate, red fruit, permanent black marker. God, the Jacks, man. I don't know what it is. I'm getting it right away too. Marshmallow, vanilla. On the finish, red fruit, marshmallow, vanilla, permanent black marker, almonds. On the second day, banana cherry on the nose, vanilla, oak, nice mouthfeel. We use different tasting guides, and there are a lot less places to write our notes, so I had to abbreviate stuff. And on the finish, banana chocolate. I scored it a 3.4 and a 3.5, so consistently decent. I'm scoring them at least consistently. The group scored a 3.5, and it came in 5th place. So as you can see in this lineup, I put it between the 2 Penelopes because I just do it in proof order. That's just how I do it. But when we did it the second time, I put it in the front on purpose because I didn't want to put it between the 2 Penelopes. I think it did. That definitely helped it on the second group. All right, then we have this new Penelope Rio. On the nose, sweet, cardboard, cinnamon. I'm like reading my notes. I'm like, does that say Doritos? I do remember saying Doritos at some point when they say things. Yep, Doritos. Everyone laughed at me when I said it. It is what it is, okay? Cinnamon, sweet, youthful. On the finish, cinnamon, sweet. Did I get Doritos the second time? No, because I don't remember saying it. So let's see. Cinnamon, sweet, cinnamon, sweet, cinnamon, sweet. That's basically what the Rio is. Okay, I scored a 2.9 and a 2.75. The group scored a 3.18 and it came in 11th place. I'm actually surprised it didn't do better than the Havana, because there was one guy that absolutely loved this and was trying to say it was better than the Stranahan's 12 Founders Reserve that's also sitting forward. I was like, no, stop your nonsense right now. Okay, so this is the first day. And on the second day, we did it this way. So it wasn't a proof order. I kind of wanted to have the better thing right away, just kind of see if that helped it in this lineup, as opposed to putting it into the in between the two sweet ones, which was just, I think, a mistake, but I do in proof order. Okay, let's go into the second lineup. All right, so this is the second lineup, and on the first day, we start off with the Jack 12. Again, this is this year's. Everything's basically from this year. So on the nose, banana, oak, sweet, maple, apple. On the palate, oak, sweet, permanent black marker, vanilla, marshmallow, red fruit, nutty. On the finish, oak, sweet, red fruit, nutty. All right, on the second day, I wrote intense red fruit, vanilla, banana, black marker. On the palate, darker, permanent black marker, rich, banana. On the finish, oak, permanent black marker, banana, vanilla. Let's see, on the first day I scored a 3.8, second day a 3.75. So again, right there. The group scored a 3.48 and it came in 7th place. So overall, it came less than the Jack Daniel's 10. Again, this is definitely something I'm gonna do a review on. I am still working on trying to get the Jack Daniel's 14. I actually have the 10 and the 12. I went to like a bottle drop the other day, got picked it was like a raffle type situation. I got picked way in the end, so there was 2 Jack Daniel's 14s there. Did not get those. There's another raffle thing this Saturday, and they have 1 Jack Daniel's 14, and it is in one of my top choices if I get picked early enough. So we'll see. But if I get picked first, I'm getting the Eagle Rare 17. Just that's the one I really want. So we'll see what happens on Saturday. But if I don't get the Jack Daniel's 14, I'll somehow get it eventually. But I'll do a review of the 12 and the 10 soon. Okay, now we have the Bombergers of 2026. And this is on the nose, Purple Jolly Rancher, sweet, nutty. On the palate, cherry cola, vanilla, sweet, chocolate, red fruit. On the finish, cherry cola, black licorice, which isn't my favorite note. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a big fan of like Jägermeister type drinks. All right, on the second day, I got a banana, oak, red fruit. On the palate, Purple Jolly Rancher. It's funny, I got them backwards. Oak, sweet, yummy. Does it say yummy? It might say young. No, it's gotta be yummy. There's a Y at the end. On the finish, oak, red fruit. And I scored that a little bit of a difference. So on the first day, I scored a 3.65, probably because of the black licorice note, not gonna lie to you. On the second day though, I scored a 4, which is one of my highest scoring on the second day. Overall, it came in 4th place with a 3.55. Once again, the Bombergers beats the Shenks, but I haven't done them head to head. I probably will soon enough. Okay, a rye. This is the Templeton Rye 13 year, limited release number 1. See on the nose, light mint, spearmint, rye, musty. On the palate, mint, green apple, peanut, oak, vanilla, rye, red fruit. On the finish, mint, vanilla, oak, red fruit, rye. Definitely rye forward. On the second day, we got Green Jolly Rancher, red licorice, sweet, orange. On the palate, orange, sweet, rye, vanilla. On the finish, rye orange. I remember something being very orange forward, and it was this one. Okay, I scored it a 3.8 and a 3.75, so again, consistently there. It came in 9th place overall with a score of 3.3. And then we have this new Remus Gehrig, which I've compared the 2 Babe Ruths from the past couple years, and I didn't think that I was gonna do a video on this because the Babe Ruths weren't that good. Like, they're okay, but not for the price. But this one did pretty decent in these lineups, so I might compare this to the Babe Ruth to see if it's that much better or what the heck's going on. So this is a Lou Gehrig. On the nose, savory, caramel, red fruit. On the palate, oak, vanilla, sweet, bourbon notes. I was like, what does that say? Bourbon notes, red fruit, seems older. On the finish, oak, green apple, red fruit, sweet. On the second day, sweet, red fruit, nutty, darker. On the palate, red fruit, oak, nutty. And on the finish, oak, nutty, chocolate. I scored it the first day 3.9, the second day 3.5. It came in 3rd place overall with a score of 3.58. So I actually did way better than I thought it was gonna do for sure. All right, so this was the first day's lineup. And this was the second day's lineup. I kind of wanted the rye at the end. So that's why I mixed it up this way anyways. All right, let's go into the final lineup. All right, now we go into the final lineup of both of them. We have this old Raleigh Whiskey Society. This is a cigar blend situation. This is why I bought it, of course. There's a top with like a little coin. It right fell off. So there's that. This says batch 4 on the back, but let's go. On the nose, oak, sweet, chocolate, nutty. On the palate, oak, slight banana, red fruit, nutty, thick. Does this say thick? Thick, I don't know. Dark fruit. On the finish, oak, vanilla, dark fruit, red fruit. Second day, we got some chocolate, apricot, peanut. On the palate, apricot, younger. On the finish, young. That's all I wrote. I feel like I wrote young twice here. I don't know. I scored a 3.6 and a 3.25. Honestly, I liked it a lot more this first time. It came in 8th overall with a score of 3.43. I've had it with cigars multiple times at this point because it's halfway gone. Now it's gone through 2 whiskey cigar clubs. And it's probably like the only one up here that's considered a cigar blend. So we definitely had it afterwards with cigars. I don't think it's the best pairing with that either. So I don't really recommend this bottle for sipping and eat or with a cigar. Now we have the Remus Experimental 2 Straight Wheat Whiskey. Was the first one a wheat whiskey? I have it around here somewhere. I don't remember it being a wheat whiskey. Anyways, I'm just realizing now that it's just a wheat whiskey. On the nose, butterscotch, sweet oak, chocolate, red fruit. On the palate, light sweet oak, slight green. Slight green? Slight green? Slight green. Vanilla. On the finish, red fruit, strawberry, vanilla. That might have been grainy because I'm looking at my notes for the second day. Oak, something grainy, vanilla. On the palate, grainy, youthful. On the finish, grainy. I scored it a 3.5 and a 3.25. Obviously way more youthful on the second day for me, so it didn't do very well. It came in 5th place overall with a score of 3.5, so actually didn't do too bad. I do have the first one. Obviously I have the other Remus Gehrig, so I might do all 5 together, just like a whole Remus thing. A Remus LE blind. Sure, why not? All right, so we have my pick here. Let's see what I wrote about my own pick here. Oak, sweet, red fruit, cherry, strawberry, intense nose. On the palate, oak, red fruit, sweet, Red Jolly Rancher, vanilla. Oh, I said Red Jolly Rancher. Everyone's like, if it doesn't say Red Jolly Rancher, I don't want it. Like, apparently I did get it. Marshmallow rich. On the finish, oak, vanilla, red fruit, sweet, so tasty. Long finish, light, slight nuttiness. And then on the second day, I know I for sure liked it more the first day than the second day. Is it oak, strawberry, sweet? I wrote so small, I can't read any of it. There's 2 more notes here. One's woody, I can't read the other one. On the palate, oak, red fruit, strawberry, sweet. Some proof. On the finish, oak, red fruit, and sweet. I scored a 4.15 the first day and a 3.9 the second day. It was my favorite the first day in the first lineup, and it came in, I think, 3rd for me the second one. Can't complain too much about that, since most of these bottles are more expensive than it. Okay, so then we have the Starlight, and if you saw the video before this, where I blinded the 2026 versus 2025, and I said in the beginning of that, I'm pretty sure the 26 is gonna beat the 25 because the 26 did so well for me in both these lineups, and the 25 wasn't that impressive for me last year. And then, I'm not gonna spoil it in case you missed it, but it's the video before this one, but shocking results for me. So 2026 Starlight, on the nose, banana, vanilla, sweet, vanilla ice cream, nutty. On the palate, sweet oak, rich oak, elevated. On the finish, rich oak, red fruit, elevated. When I rate elevated, it just means like it just feels like a richer experience, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. On the second day, sweet vanilla, very nice. Peanut butter. On the palate, strawberry oak, a bubble gum. On the finish, strawberry oak, red fruit. And on the first day, I scored a 4, and the second day, I scored a 4.1. So as you can see, I liked it both days. It came in 1st place overall for the group with a score of a 3.93. Barely beating out my pick, I'll say. But it did win, and I liked it both days, and that's why I 100% thought I was gonna crush the 2025. It's crazy that I didn't the other day, but it is what it is. Blinds don't lie. This is how we drank them on the first day, and this is how we drink them on the second day. I put the finish thing kind of towards the end. I don't know. I kind of just swapped them around the box, and this is just how it happened. So if you've had any of these, let me know your thoughts on them. If you want to see any of these 12 reviewed, please let me know in the comments. Obviously, a lot of these I will be reviewing. The Jacks I'll definitely be reviewing. The Remuses I'll do a video on. I already did one on the Starlight. The Penelope Rio, and I'll probably do a video on. Probably do a video on the Bombergers and the Shenks. So pretty much all these things are going to get their own videos. Probably won't do one on the Old Raleigh or the Templeton 13 Rye, but maybe I'll do like a rye video eventually and it'll just sneak in there. But that's that. So enjoy your weekend. Don't look stupid. And if you do, don't get caught. Bye.